Well, hello there. How y'all doing tonight? Welcome to Boss Talk. And that is bold, one of a kind, sensational superstars. And so, what we are going to bring to you tonight and every week moving forward is amazing opportunities to hear from some people out there who are really living their lives on full tilt boogie. And we're going to give you tips on so many things that will help you do the same. And if you're already living your life on full tilt boogie, then that means that you are a boss and you need to be one of my guests. So to do that, you can email me at bosstalkla@gmail.com. But I am so excited to bring on my first guest. My first guest tonight, and this is the premiere, so I'm so excited, is Miss Kim Anthony. Kim Anthony is the founder and director of the Urban Excellence Institute. Above all, she is absolutely relentless about bringing out your very best. Kim Anthony brings more than 25 years of experience in the training and development, specializing in the personal leadership development, civic engagement, and economic development sectors to her role as founder and lead facilitator of the Urban Excellence Institute. It is a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to providing services and resources to urban communities. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to get to know Miss Kim yourself up close and personal. So let me bring her on now.
Hey,
Hello.
hi, thank you. Hey, Shawn LaRe.
Thank you so much. I am
Thank
so
you.
excited to have you here tonight.
It is. I am over the moon to be here. And what a
Well,
compliment. Bold, one of a kind, sensational superstars. Did I get it right?
you did. Absolutely.
Amazing. Oh, this is such a wonderful idea. I can't wait to see the lineup and the legacy that you'll build with this show.
I'm so excited.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm thrilled and honored to have you as my first guest. And I will talk about why I wanted you to be my first guest as we go on. But so I know that you founded and are now directing the Urban Excellence Institute. And I
Mhm.
want to know a little bit more, and I want you to tell the audience a little bit more about what it is that you guys do.
Of the Urban Excellence Institute. Well, the Institute is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that's dedicated to bringing world class training and development to communities of color. Um, I to give a bit of context, at 18, I'm emancipated from the foster care system with $130 to my name and the address to the welfare office and a copy of Think and Grow Rich. And I had these two possibilities. Where do I go? Which direction do I go? And I decided to bet on personal development. I decided to re raise myself, if you will, and so that one day I could create the kind of life that I could be proud of myself for. And after spending way more than I had, I mean, literally invested everything I could into developing myself. But I knew that there were other people that maybe didn't have it, that, were so fortunate to be able to do that. So I
Right.
wanted to take the top strategies and bring it back to our community. So,
Wow, Kim, that's amazing. Now, I have some experience with the foster care system as I am a therapist and I worked at a group home. And when those children are in group homes and facilities like that, they are considered foster youth.
yes. Oh,
So, and I do know that there's rarely anything set up that really is to set the youth up to win. after having been in the system. So they gave you a copy of Think and Grow Rich
Well,
and
yeah, I got that
$140.
from the library.
Oh, you
I
got
used
that yourself, of
to,
course, because
I, I used to, not to cut you, I used to go to the Central Avenue Library and stay until it closed at 9 o'clock, just to stay out of the neighborhood, the negativity that could happen. And it
Mhm.
was on one of those, free books. It had the back torn off. And I didn't believe it, but I picked it up anyway, and I began to read, and the ideas began to lodge themselves in my heart. So
Mm.
it was in my path. It was in my path.
Wow. So you had a mindset shift at a very early age then, right?
Mhm.
That's
Absolutely.
amazing.
Mhm.
That's amazing. What do you think it was in you? Because we hear stories all the time about youth coming out of the foster care system and not being able to do well. And I know as well as you know, it's not because they don't have it in them to do well, because I met some of the most amazing young women and young men in that group homes and that and that whole setting. It was an entire services area. They had dorms for boys and 4 group homes. And some of the most amazing children were there, but they just didn't have opportunities and
Right.
anybody who believed in them. So what do you think it was that helped you to make the decision to do something different than what they
And on
expected?
me. I believe it's what was spoken over my life. Now, I saw some things up close and purple and purpose, up close and personal.
Personal? There you go.
Up close and personal. And wait a minute, up close and purpose, because it
I,
did become a purpose. It
I
was
like that.
because I got to see how hurt people, and
Mm,
how people behave when they don't get that they matter. And then they want to build themselves up by picking on someone less powerful than them. So I got
mm,
that experience firsthand. Um, but so I saw a lot. But at the same time, there were a few that told me that I was creative. There were a few that told me that I was smart. I remember when I first got to the foster care, I was in kindergarten, and I remember just blown. Where's my mama? Why am I in this? Where is my family? It just
mm,
blown. And so I must have been kind of moping, and I was dragging my coat. And my kindergarten teacher, her name was Betty Stern at Hooper Elementary School in Los Angeles. Um, she thought that there was something quote unquote wrong with me. And as I think about it, I wonder how she got the authorization to take me to UCLA and have me tested on a Saturday. Yeah, I know that was not a part of LAUSD's
right.
normal programming, but off we went in her little bug and her little beetle, and she gave me these tests, this IQ test, and I tested not like with a learning deficit. I actually
Mhm,
tested gifted. And
mhm,
so because of her standing standing up for me and caring enough for me to go beyond what was just obvious,
mhm,
I got to take classes. It was in city of LA. It's called the Mentally Gifted Minor Program. But here's my point. My point is, there are so many other children that have gifts, talents, skills, and abilities, but
yes.
no one stood for them. No one said, "Let me look beyond what the exterior is showing." So I was blessed. I mean, that woman could have turned a different corner and missed me dragging my coat to school, but
Mhm.
God
Look at
saw
that.
fit that she would see me in that moment, and that changed. I believe that changed the trajectory of my life. Um, so yeah, what was spoken over me? My mom, before she went on to glory, she told me that everything you ever want to know is in a book somewhere. This was before the internet. Now with the internet, it's like it's at your fingertips.
Yeah, point and
But
click.
one thing, but I just I just knew from like hook, line, and sinker, I believed her that anything that I would ever want to know was in a book somewhere. So I
Mm,
fell in love with books. Susan Taylor, In the Spirit, and so
yes.
that became like my big sister in magazines. Um, yeah, and then just I just got in different programs and just began to express myself. So I think that there's a lot of gifts in everybody. I believe
Mhm.
everybody has gifts and purpose and
Absolutely.
magnificence.
Absolutely.
And it's just been my, if I could say it's my mission, it would be to find the magnificence in people and reflect it back to them
Yes.
and be a
I
demand
love
and a
it.
command that they walk in it. That's
I
what
love
I want to do.
that.
That
I
and
love
and
that.
mhm.
And it is amazing what you said about that woman could have turned a different corner, because sometimes it is just the smallest thing that God will put in our path, right?
Yeah.
To change, like you said, the trajectory of our lives. And sometimes we have to be present and aware and willing to look to see where those loopholes are, because in your situation it seemed like fate, but of course we all know that that was God's plan for your life.
Right. Mhm.
And many times we're dealt cards and we believe that maybe that's the plan for our lives and only that, and we might miss the other things, the other tidbits, right, that he
Yeah.
slips in to let us see and to remind us who we are, and that we are his gifted children in just that we were born,
Mm,
and so I
yes.
love that, that woman was there and that you took that opportunity,
Mhm.
because you could have said, I don't go anywhere with that lady, I don't know that lady, and it could have been that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, or my foster mom didn't have to sign the slip, the trip didn't have to allow me to go.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
that's amazing. So then where did you go from there? I mean, you started reading, of course, an avid reader, doing well in school.
Mhm.
Um, Tell us what's next. What was next?
Um, my mom, so that was earlier in life. So I was 5, I was kindergarten. Then I was 9-ish, so like a few years older, and we did spend some time with my mom. And my mom took classes at UCLA. She couldn't afford a babysitter, so she would take my sister, Dawn, and I with her, and we would sit in the back of the class and study, and these would be psychology classes. And I love to read. I read everything I get my hands on. So I'm reading these psychology books and psychology magazines. I think it's called
Love it.
Psychology Today. And just reading, right? And something I remember being in high school, um, in like homeroom, and one of the one of the students was in there, and he was upset and having a bad day, and I said, "Well, when was the first time you remember feeling this way?" And the counselor stopped in her tracks and said, "Where did you learn that?" I'm like, "I don't know, but it's in me." And I've always been, I just always been fascinated with people. I just
Mhm.
that their greatness. Yeah, maybe born with it, maybe to a great deal, born with being fascinated with people and people's possibilities. Yep.
I love that.
But to
So,
answer your question,
well,
um,
but I love it because that you're showing that these were gifts that you had, or just ways of being, even that you had very young,
mhm.
and you tapped into them.
Yes, or I was just expressing who I was. This It was
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't a thing, like Whitney Houston can always sing when she was a kid. I always cared about people and what do you want to be when you grow up and how do you spell your name, and just wanted people to know who they were, who they are. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I thought it was my business. I'm not sure that you know how magnificent you are. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
that was me. I remember like Ford. Okay, we're gonna move into adulthood. But for like 4 years old, right? I'm like, hi, what's your name? My name is Kim, Kim. What's your name? Peter. Oh, okay. Well, let me tell you how to spell it. Dkyfop. That's your name. And I was just into it. And I was like, why was it so important for me to just something about knowing who you are, your identity. It's something about that.
Oh,
And
yes.
yeah,
A
knowing who you
hundred
are,
percent.
we will never rise above our identity. We'll never.
Absolutely. Kim, it sounds like we were the same kid growing up because I would
Yes,
talk to anybody. The words my family would say, that child talked to a doorknob if a doorknob would talk back, right?
listen.
And
Exactly.
my name is Shawn LaRe. Growing up, I always had to correct people because they would say, hi, Shawn. I would say, it's Shawn LaRe, LA, capital RE. And then when they would say, hi, Shawn, I'd say, Shawn LaRe. And I would say, it's like Marianne, only fancier. So
Listen here. Exactly. So we
so
love
I've been helping people
you.
out with that forever.
Yeah.
So you knew who you were, and
Mhm.
that helped you to develop that further to what you do now. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about some of the inner workings of the Urban Excellence Institute. What are some of your
Okay.
programs?
Oh my gosh. Well, we have a tri-level program. It can be taken in three parts. It's a transformational training, and we operate out of the assertion that we are the power of the word, the power of your word, the power of
Mm,
you saying who you are. And I'm not talking about lying and putting on airs. I'm talking about the quality
mhm,
that you're committed to showing up in life and living out in life. So declaring that and then walking congruent with that, having a vision, and then saying, hey, what do I need to do? Who do I need to be to line myself up with that vision? And have that pull me forward. So, level one is about you and how you show up in life. It's just
mm,
about you, just to see what's possible. Like up until this point, what have we settled for? What have we been tolerating? If there's infinite possibilities, why are we choosing this set right here? So it's experiential, so you get to see how you think in action, and that tends to stick. Think riding a bike versus reading about riding a bike. And once you ride the bike, it's always kind of with you.
mhm.
Part two is about how you show up in the world. Love, if I think I'm loving, but it's not showing up over there, if I
Right.
think I'm powerful, it's not showing up over there, if I think I'm a leader and it's not showing up over there, what's in the gap? Because my vision requires that I operate in congruence with it. My vision requires that I show up. It's not just, a wish and a prayer. I've got to be and then take action in congruence with what it is that I say that I'm up to, and then keep my word. Keep my word
Mm,
when it is difficult. Keep my word when there's quote unquote haters. Keep my word when I'm in a
yes.
space of unknown, but keep my word. Who do I say I am? And then what
Right.
actions are congruent with that? And that will create a different result and then shift until then. So, how am I showing up? How am I showing
Yes.
up? Am I
I
if
love
I showing up
that.
into something different? How am I showing up? That's
Right.
congruent or not. And so
Yeah.
we
That's like walking your walk and talking your talk, right? That's the
walking
short
your
version.
talk. Yes,
Yeah,
walking
that's
in
it.
your thoughts.
Yes,
Walk.
that's it.
And I happen to be a pastor's wife, and as a Christian, it's like I don't tell people I'm a Christian. I love it when people go, are you what church you go to? Are you I love that because I'm going to be a preacher of the gospel, and now and then I want to use words because I want my life
Mhm.
to be congruent with
Yes.
what it is that I say that I'm up to. If I got to tell you what it is, but you're not
Mhm.
seeing it in my fruit, something is wrong. So we have
Yes.
an opportunity to look at your fruit in level 2.
Match that life and doctrine, huh?
Listen,
I
lots of hard
love
water
it.
sweat. And I remember when and it's an opportunity to get feedback
Mhm.
that's raw. It's that stuff that they say about you when you're not in the room. Well, you get to hear it.
Oh, yes.
So you
Mhm.
can do something about it. So you
Right.
can see the impact. Now, is it true? Is feedback true? No. Feedback is not true, but it's an experience that you're creating. And if I'm
Right.
up to creating an experience that's congruent with my vision, guess who gets to shift? Guess who gets to go to work? Guess who gets to try harder? Guess who gets to
Mhm.
reinvent themselves if I'm committed to my vision? And then level
Yes.
3 is 90 days at 100%, giving it everything you got. And the reason why we call it 90 days at 100% is because most people never give 100% to their lives ever, ever. Maybe a
Mhm.
short amount of time, short stints of time, but you will be held and pressed and commanded and demanded to bring 100% to your life for 90 days straight. Most New Year's resolutions end in about week and a half, two, because they
Yeah,
never
by
know
week
how to
2.
tell it.
By week 2.
Right?
That's right.
We're talking 90 days. And we have a workbook and a planner, and it is so dope. And then and what we're describing is actually our coaching program. Our first cohort, we just dropped them right in the middle, and they had to go for it. They were coaching, and they were doing level 1, 2, and 3 at the same time. But this time we're breaking out theory, and then we're giving it to them so they can put it in their lives. And then that last 6 months is practicum, because they know what it's like to be staring into the unknown and having to show up, having to speak truth to power, having to risk.
Mm,
And all they want to do is get back under the comforter. We will be coaching people, standing for people who will be pressed up against the same imaginary limitations. So we get to go first. We get to be
I
client
love
number.
it. You
So,
know, it's interesting. I love the comment, speak truth to power. I'm about to put that in the chat because I love that. Can you speak that out? Expound on that term, because I think that's really I think that's rich.
well, I think it's being willing to confront the status quo. I think it's being willing to confront and be a different possibility than that what's even coming through in the media and what's even coming through in our organizations. We There's so much that happen, and the power that I'm speaking about is not necessarily the majority population. I'm talking about the powerful conversation that everybody has in terms of what's possible for us and what's not possible for us,
Mhm.
what's attainable and what's not attainable, to be able to stand flat foot at that thing and say yes, and I will. Like, who in the world am I to be starting a
Yes.
coaching academy? Who am I? Now,
I love it.
I've been at this for 30 years, and I'm an accredited coach myself. But power says no. Don't tell anybody don't give up the farm. Don't share what you
Oh,
know. Then you're gonna have
yes.
competition. That powerful, although it's a drifty conversation, but it has people um in the grips.
Oh,
Competition,
yeah.
fear. That's the power.
Right. And it keeps you stuck. It
Keeps you
sticks
stuck.
people in the spot, and then they don't want to move because if you don't share what you have, you're doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I love, my coach says, collaboration crushes competition. So I love that because it opens up a door that a lot of people have been afraid to walk through because they're afraid that someone will take what they have. And it's like what you're saying is get to know who you are, and no one can do
Yes.
it the way that you do it. And I love that
Yes.
because, but you can't get to that way of thinking until you do something like what you're talking about. Learn who you are. I call it
Yes.
stepping into your who you are-ness. I like to make up words.
Yes.
So,
Yes. I love that.
but when you're living in that, then you can walk in that power that you're
Yeah.
speaking the truth to. I
Yeah.
love that. I
And and
love that.
and conversation is power. You think,
Hmm.
hear this. Conversation is power. The whole world was invented by, was created with word. God's word said, "Let there be," and there was.
Yes.
So we are imbued with this, we're made in this image and likeness. So word and conversation that people say was possible is not possible. If you can't rise above that,
Mm.
you don't dare to go beyond what everybody says is possible and be out there on the skinny branches by
Ooh, I
yourself.
love that. Ooh, I like that.
Yes. So that's speaking truth, because the truth is I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. The truth is
Come
I can
on.
do all things through Christ who strengthens me. The
I'm
truth
telling
is
you.
the truth. So that's the truth that I think the power that grips people, the little p power that grips people, that tells people what's possible and what's not possible. Those things that were speaking over people's lives, what you can and can't do, and you ain't nothing, you ain't never gonna be nothing, and who you think you
Hmm.
are. All of that, all of that keeps people small, and that's what it was like for me for the longest. It's like who do you
Hmm.
think you are? I got who do you think you are? I Kim, like I don't
Yeah.
know. It is possible, and
Right. Well,
and
when people say that, Kim, don't you think that the question really is, who do you think that I am? Because you're asking that question. So who do you think that
mm,
I am? Because that's where the person's
ooh, that's
opinion is being
good.
driven. It don't
That's
touch you.
good. That's so
Mm-mm.
good.
Who
That's
am I?
so
I'm
good.
God's daughter.
Yes.
So are you, but
And
I choose to
listen,
live in what he told me.
yes, like in your book, like in the book you read, in the
Right
Bible, in the holy book you read, you're
there.
supposed to be doing it too. And the thing of it is that it does give, it also gives me an indication of who, like, wow, I thought you knew me. I thought you knew
Yes.
me. But at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, it's really an expression of who they think they are, and who they, most importantly, who they think they're not.
They're
And
not.
they live this life gripped by this set of beliefs, and they think that that's it, that is life. That's, as fish don't know that they're in water, so it's just that's it. And here you come, going to
Mhm.
disrupt everything and bring the light. And what happens when the light comes on? People squint and they do all of that.
Everything, yes, and all
So
is laid bare. Yeah.
yeah.
But you
So
know, when I
mhm.
think about that, I think about the Marian Anderson poem,
Yes.
and I won't quote it right, but the part I love is the part where it says, "Who are you to not believe that you are?" And it
Oh,
gives
yes.
all
Our
those
deepest fear
beautiful.
is not that we're oh gosh, our deepest fear is
We're more
not that we're
powerful beyond
measured.
that.
Who are
We're, yeah, you know that one.
yeah, who am I to be glorious, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be?
Not to be.
Not to who are you not to be?
Absolutely.
Who are you not?
Yes, yes. Well, you know
Yes.
what, Kim? I love, first of all, excuse me, I love that it is called the Urban Excellence
Yes.
Institute. But
Yes.
tell me about that title for you.
Oh my God, I love my community. I love us. And I think, wait, look, our culture is everywhere. It gets appropriated everywhere. So we're
Hmm.
not broken down and need to be fixed. No, we are excellent. Now it looks different. We can do a whole lot more with a whole lot less, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even when it comes to financial literacy, we are financial geniuses. Let's talk about a single mom that it's the 20th and she only has enough money and she's at the 20th and she done ran out of money, but she still got to get to the first.
Yeah,
That's financial
exactly.
genius.
That part.
That part. So how do we take those things and not be that we would typically be ashamed of, but no, embrace them? That is a
Yes.
genius. So it
Yes.
does take the excellence. It does use some of the top modalities that are out there: NLP, transformational training, accelerated change technology. We use the top skills and modalities to leverage our gifts, talent, skills, and ability to create what we would. Because I would
Mm-hmm.
spend my rent money, I would spend my last money to go and take these Tony Robbins and these the Life Springs of the world. I would go and spend my last to take them, but I would be the only spot in the dot. I'd be
Mm-hmm.
one, two, or a few. And this was the early 80s. Certainly now it's a lot different. And I'm like, if anybody could benefit from this, it would be my community. And if anybody, um, but sometimes though it was speaking to the masses, but it wasn't speaking to what's unique about American descendants of African slaves.
Mm.
Right? Right? There's
Yes,
something in our
yes.
DNA that just gets totally missed. Thank you. I saved my life. Being born again, and taking taking those classes.
Ah,
Absolutely. But
I love it.
and then urban excellence. That's number 4.
Was
What
birth.
was birth? Because it saved my life. Oh my gosh, so much. I started the Urban Business Journal with principles that I got from these trainings.
Mm-hmm.
Declare and then show up and make it happen. That publication was from thought to on the street, 9 days.
Mm.
And in
Wow.
2022 we celebrate 20 years. Why? Because I was at a company, a lot of Teamworks, and they were laying off some people. I'm like, oh no, you can start a business. And I'm like, why don't you put this in a publication? Okay. And then there was an event that was happening 9 days later, and I challenged myself to get it done before then. Never published before. Why? But use the skills. There's a skill set. There's a way to leverage things, to do things that were not previously perceived. Most people are building on something that's already been done. But to be
Mm.
bold enough to step out there and have it happen, to take on the impossible and have it happen anyway, that skill,
There.
that
That
skill.
part.
Yes. And just to be willing, first of all, it's not impossible because it's done, but to be willing to to dream, to look at that which may seem impossible. Most people will shrink back, but to stand flat foot and say, how could I? What would I?
Mm.
It's impossible, but if it were possible, what would I need to do, be, say, talk to, find,
Ex-
grind? Like, what does it need to be?
Yes.
You would be surprised how plausible things, how doable things are. I mean, I went to the Nobel Peace Prize ceremonies because
What? Well, do tell. Tell us about that.
girl. So when I was in foster care, I got this book that says on the day that you were born, December 10th, 1964. This is all of the historical things that happened. And one of those things was Dr. Martin Luther King was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. And I was like, later on in life, I'm like, that must mean something. So I'm like,
Mm.
I've got to go. It's like, because who do you meet in the ladies' room at the Nobel Peace Prize? So I made
Do
it
tell.
my business, right? I called. I said, hello, my name is, and I would have come, and they said, no. I was like, okay, all right, what do I do? And I just kept coming, and I had a publication. And because it's the Nobel Peace Prize, it had, that's more philanthropic. So I presented the philanthropic side of our paper.
Ah.
Got a chance to go. Got a chance to attend on behalf of my paper. And so here I am in Oslo, Norway, honey. And my luggage is over somewhere over the Atlantic. And it's right after I think it was right after Gore did not get the presidency.
Uh-huh.
And so I was late and just totally embarrassed. I'm late. And here I am, the only sister late. In Norway, it's like blind blue, blind blue. But the winner, the Nobel laureate that year was Wangari Maathai. So anyway, I go in this door, like, ooh, what's in here? What's in here? And I go into what must have been the green room. And there were some people standing around. And there's this African gentleman standing there. And he says, who are you? I'm like, well, I'm Kim Anthony. And I'm from Boston. And he says, well, you must meet the laureate. I'm like, well, I must. And so there we are in like the green room at the Nobel Institute, standing there with Wangari Maathai and the 2004 Nobel Peace Prize laureate, talking about hair, honey. I love your hair.
I love it.
Your hair. I'm like, girl, you dip it in hot water. Really? I'm like, yeah, I should know about that. And there's a hush in the room, right? And, and then there's a commotion. You must go to the next thing. They whisked her off, and then I get all these invitations, and I'm like, what just happened? I'm like standing there with these invitations and all these wonderful events in Norway.
I love that.
Just go and show up. Just push those boundaries. Does that make sense?
Oh my gosh, yes.
My friend Charles Brister. So, okay, in Norway, it's the Nobel Peace Prize. The Nobel Peace Prize ceremony is at 1 in the afternoon, and which is 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I was born at 3:55. So Charles, Charles Brister.
Wow.
He says when Dr. King was getting a pat on his back, he was getting a pat on yours. But I met people on that one trip that's been in my life since then, all over the world. All over the world. I'm from Watts in LA, like barely could get the ticket to go, right?
Yes.
But show up with your love, show up with your passion, show up, be interested in people. Walk in the room instead of saying, here I am. Walk in the room and say, there you are. Because people,
I love that.
They'll kill for money, but die for recognition. People want to be seen, say, here, I see you, I am here. And that's what makes coaching amazing. That's what people go on Judge Judy. That's why they go on these shows.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
So they can be seen. They want their story to matter. Well, with coaching, we can show up for people. We can elicit them mattering. We can bear witness to their magnificence and what's awesome about them. No, we are not. This is not therapy. A lot of people get coaching mixed up with therapy. I tell people my degree is in basket weaving. So that will leave you. But coaching is not about the past. Therapy is about the past and how you got here. Coaching is about your future, your dreams. And let's lock arms and let's get this thing done. Yes, you can. And let's go by 3, because you're going to be calling me, telling me how many calls you made to launch whatever it is that's on your heart.
That's it. Yeah. Well, you see, we got the chat here. I think we have the Black Women's Network joining us today, and they repeated your statement about pushing the boundaries, and also to walk in the room and say, "There you are." I think that's magnificent, because we live in a world of me, 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 me. They have these movements, right? And that was supposed to have been the movement, but I believe it is still the movement. And so it's amazing when you can step out of yourself to recognize and acknowledge someone else in all their glory. And it takes nothing away from your own. Like, you don't dull because you shine somebody else.
Listen
and
here.
So I love your statement there that is it popped up there, walk in the room and say, there you are. And it's
Yeah.
all about the attitude, right? It's all about
Yeah.
walking in with an openness that you bring into the room that draws people to you, because when you're open, of course people can come in. And so
Yes.
much of the time we're closed, and there's a reason for that. Sometimes that makes a whole lot of sense, right? It makes sense that some people are closed and afraid to open up, unable to open up.
Yeah.
um, that their experiences have taught them that it may be unsafe to
Of
open up.
course.
But I
Oh my
think
gosh,
that
yes.
absolutely, but the gift is in overcoming that and knowing that that is a thing. And I
Yeah.
feel like with therapy, certainly we do that kind of work, but you also, when you are being coached, you
Hmm.
learn so much about who you are that it is amazing, and it allows you to step out, to
Yes.
actually step out. Well, I know I went through your coaching program, at the Urban Excellence Institute, and I am a
Yes.
proud graduate.
Yes. We're so proud to have you. We
It's
just
amazing. It was such a beautiful experience, and I think that so many people benefited from that, and I know that it is going to grow exponentially from here. That means a whole heap of a lot.
yes.
And and
Yes.
it's so much needed. And I love, Kim, that your focus is in the urban communities,
Yes. Yes.
because
We
so much of what doesn't get to happen there is not for lack of talent, it's for lack of opportunity. And so I
yeah,
love that you're bringing this opportunity.
absolutely. And what something else that tends to happen, it gets watered down. No, we chose the gold standard. We teach the 8 core competencies of the International Coach Federation, and they are considered the ethics, the values of the ICF.
Mm,
You get accredited through them. You get the ACC, the PCC, or the MCC. You can work corporate. You can work in government. You can get referrals from the ICF because you're
mhm,
accredited. You're accredited. So we teach, and in terms of like the CK, which is called the coach knowledge, we strive. We say do at least 90. In terms of your score, we stand for excellence. We want people to have we call it classical coaching, right? And then
right.
once you master the classical coaching, the classics, then you can put the shimmelang on it and put the jazz
That's
on it.
right. Yeah, you can make
We
a
know that
dance. You can make a
yes,
dance.
that's what's so important. So so we want our coaches to be able to stand next to anyone in the world. We actually had someone taking the course, Dr. Lynette, taking the course from London, England. So
Mm,
we're not, it's not just a little coaching program in the hood. No, 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 no. We are hard. I mean, some people had to take that test a couple of times. And it's not whether or not you got it right. Why'd you get that answer right? Not just you get the answer wrong. Why was it wrong? To
right.
learn to know how to think like a coach. And we
Absolutely.
have an amazing team of people. I mean, the
Yeah.
talent, the skill, the credibility of the people that are there. And I launched it. The impetus for me launching this program was is there, especially now with COVID-19 and the global pandemic, everybody's reinventing themselves. Let's
Oh,
just
yes.
say there is
Absolutely.
no you you plan something for next year if you want to, but
Okay.
how do you deal with the uncertainty, and then who do you become in the face of what could happen, and how do you line yourself up to meet those opportunities and those possibilities?
Mm,
And
mm.
that's some high discretionary income coaching. That's some luxury coaching. But we don't have it in our it's not usually accessible to our community.
Mhm.
There's food, there's stipends, there's unemployment, there's funds, right? But I don't see anybody saying how can you use this as a time to maximize yourself, maximize
Right.
your potential, come out of
Absolutely.
this better. Some are like those that's kind of like in the middle, they're doing it. But the ones, man, I'm telling you, that just have so much potential, but just no one demanded it or commanded it.
Right,
Right?
right. And nobody nurtured that potential. And that is
Right.
so important. That is so
Mhm.
important. And like you had that teacher at school who saw something, um, thought something was wrong, right? Because you were moping around. But that was the way to get in there that got you to even maybe take notice of what was available to you and your reading and all of that. But I think now, we have kids that go to schools that don't even have books and on some of the urban schools, and they are downloading the books on a computer. And if you don't have a computer, well, then what do you do? Or if you don't have money to go to, I almost said Kinko's. What do they call it now? FedEx, Kinko's, or whatever. But if you don't have money to go to the copy
I'm
place,
aging myself because I know it. I still call it Kinko's. I still call it Kinko.
yes, that place. Then how are we, going to make the moves that we need to make? So I think it is so amazingly important that you are offering this opportunity for people who might not otherwise see it or need it. And there's always the conversation about, well, why do they need an urban institute and that whole thing? And it's because without the urban institute, some geniuses may never come to fruition because nobody's checking for them, and they
Absolutely.
don't have the opportunity to get into some of these other places that other people can open the door, walk up to, and just walk right in. Gigi
Exactly.
says, yes, we are reinventing ourselves. Absolutely.
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 Absolutely, Gigi. I was we were talking, you mentioned the Me Too movement. Now, this, I'm not relating to the Me Too movement, that is separate and apart from what I'm about to say. But how
Mhm.
about the YouTube movement? You too can
Okay.
be. You
Yes.
too have a possibility. How about we walk around recognizing the grandeur, the excellence in other people? You too can make it. You too are worthy. You too
Yes.
get to live your dreams. You too have possibility. You too
Yes.
have a contribution to make. Right?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. 150%. I see that. Well, Kim, we're winding down here. So I would love to, first of all, tell the people where someone had asked, where does one or how does one connect with the Urban Excellence Institute?
very easy. It's urbanexcellence.net. And it's go there. There is you click on apply for a scholarship, and and that gives us your information. That's another thing. I paid a pretty penny for my education, and I know that I happen to not have children of my own, so I could do that kind of thing. But there's people who in our community, frankly, um, if they could, they would probably put it on some real estate, right? A down
Mhm.
payment on something that's going. So it meant the world to me to be able, I've raised money for all kind of things. Why not raise money to create people in our community who could have the skill set and the expertise and the professionalism that's required to stand for other people? How about we create that? So we have a sliding scale. And we have a sliding scale. I was just speaking with a young lady today. For under $25,000, it's a certain rate. But if you make $90,000 and you're taking care of 8 people, and you make $25,000, but you were like me, so we work with people at what will work for them, and we do grants, we
Absolutely.
do sponsorship, we make sure that our lights are on. But we are more committed to churning out top quality coaches that can stand next to corporate, that can coach in
Yes.
Washington, D.C., then coach in government. that can coach internationally, because I don't want it to be said that you went to that little school over there and you got like some watered down version. No. um, 3 times is good. We're committed.
Okay, I love it.
We're committed to
I
bringing
love
the
it.
absolute best. And I was concerned. I thought we were a little tough, but people rose to the occasions and they found out what they were made of. And
Mhm.
grateful for that.
They don't call it
So,
tough love for nothing. And I want to just comment on this and get your take. Sometimes definitely in our community, African American community, the Latinx community, other communities of color, there is a
mhm,
stigma and a fear about mental health and about seeking therapy. And I am a therapist, and of course, my practice
mhm.
is doing well, and it's serving a lot of people who look like me, and I'm so excited about that.
Yes.
I service everyone. No one gets turned away, but just the fact that I am there has made it possible for a lot of people who might not otherwise go to therapy
Yes.
to think that it could be possible for them to get that kind of healing. And then a lot of times people will go to therapy, and therapy is to heal the pathology and get you through the trauma and help you understand some things about yourself. But I believe that coaching is also a place where you learn who you are, like you said. And I think about when you think about a coach, you think about sports, people who excel are able to listen and learn from their coach. And the coach doesn't do it for you. The
Yep.
coach doesn't tell you what to do, but the coach tells you how to open up to the possibilities. The best coaches open up the opportunities and let you walk through. They are tough, like what you mentioned, but they also can see into you and see the potential that lives inside of you that may be just sitting there undeveloped all over the place. And that is um, it's such a gift to be able to bring that out of people. And I know that
Mhm.
you have that amazing gift, that there are other coaches at the institute that have that gift, that are ready to shine up some of the rough diamonds that are out there. And so I think what you do is amazing. I think how you do it is so amazing, and how you give of yourself so selflessly is a beautiful thing. It's a
Mm.
very beautiful thing. And so if no one has told you today, you are quite the stuff. You are really what gold is made of. And
Oh,
I just want to honor you and thank you for coming on
wow.
today, and for sharing with our audience, and for letting people know what the Urban Institute is all about. Urban Excellence,
Yeah,
keyword excellence, Institute is
yeah,
all about, and how they can get there, and why there is such a need for such a thing, for
yeah.
such a time as this. I
As
love
this.
it. I love everything that you're
Yeah.
doing. So, do you have any final comments? Because we have a few minutes. Any final comments or thoughts that you want to leave the peoples with?
Oh my gosh. Um, I join us, stand with us. I'm a dream collector. I want to know what matters to you, and how can we be on your team to bring that to fruition? And I think the 22 graduates that we just had is up to that, and what would be possible in our community if we had people who were standing for possibility versus we're looking at what's broken. And there's a lot broken in our community, but who do I get to be in the face of the matter? And then to have, and that the other piece, the reason why the agreement with those who get to come to an urban excellence is that we want you to go and get those contracts, those 6-figure contracts. But oh yes, oh yes, but save 10% of your time to give back to our community. So we want to partner up with community agencies that's working with youth, that's working with women, that women in transition, to stand with people, not just about surviving, but really thriving in their life. So
Mm,
this really is about our community. It's about the rest of us. W.E.B. Du Bois. I'll leave it like this. I'll leave it with this. W.E.B. Du Bois was famous. One of the things he was famous for was the concept called the talented tenth. I believe in it. I stand with it and stand for it. However, when you look at the state of affairs in our community, we can't
mm,
just have the 10%. We need all 90 to be in the
that's
game,
right. That's
bringing their
right.
best. So that's what I stand for. I stand for all of us bringing our gifts, talents, skills, and ability and contribution to creating communities that work for all of us.
That's what I love. Yes. Drop the mic.
Like, did I did I do that? Yes,
You
that's
did.
what
I
it's
need some sound effects. I have to get some sound effects. Boom.
yes. So
Listen
come
again.
urbanexcellence.net and
That's
we will
it.
meet you where you are and we'll go
Oh, I
together.
love that. Absolutely. Well, y'all, thank you for tuning in. This is your first episode of Boss Talk for bold, one of a kind, sensational superstars. And you have just met one. Miss Kim
Hmm.
Anthony, Black Girl Excellence, delivered from her Urban Excellence Institute. They say thank you. That was Gwendolyn Goodman. Thank you for tuning in, Gwen. Thank you, Gigi, and all of the women at Black Women's Network. I love you all. I honor you all, and I raise y'all up for all that is good and all that is possible in the world. Thank you all for tuning in. Tell your friends about it. We'll be back next week on Wednesday at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, and 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And so we got something for everybody. Come get some. It's your girl, Shawn LaRe, and I want you to always live loved. Come back to Boss Talk. Thank you so much. Good night.
This is amazing.